कृष्णवर्णं तिषा कृष्णं साङ्गोपाङ्गास्त्रपार्षदं यज्ञैः सङ्कीर्तनप्रायैर्यजन्ति सुमेधसः अन्तः कृष्णं बहिर्गौरं दर्शिताङ्गादिवैभवम् कलौ सङ्कीर्तनाद्यै स्मः कृष्णचैतन्यमाश्रिता जयतां मथुरा भूमौ श्रीलरूपसनातनौ यो विलेखयतस्तत्त्वं ज्ञापकौ पुस्तिकामिमां कोऽपि तद्बान्धवो भट्टो दक्षिणद्विजवंशजः विविच्य वेलिकग्रन्थं लिखिता वृद्धवैष्णवैः तस्याद्यं ग्रन्थनालेकं क्रान्तव्युत्क्रान्तखण्डितं पर्यालोच्याथ पर्यायं कृत्वा लिखति जीवकः यः श्रीकृष्णपादाम्बोजा भजनैकाभिलाषवान् तेनैव दृश्यतामेतद् अन्यस्मै शपथोऽर्पितः श्रीमद्भागवतं श्रीमन्मन्त्रदेशिकमीश्वरम् श्रीमद्भागवतार्थानां सन्दर्भं कर्तुमाश्रये अथ नत्वा मन्त्रगुरून् गुरून् भागवतार्थदान् श्रीभागवत सन्दर्भं वश्मि लेखितुं यस्य ब्रह्मेति संज्ञां क्वचिदपि निगमे याति चिन्मात्रसत्ता यंसो यस्यांशकैस्वैर्विभवति वशयन्नेव मायां पुमांश्च एकं यस्यैव रूपं विलसति परमव्योम्नि नारायणाख्यं स श्रीकृष्णो विधत्तां स्वयमिह भगवान् प्रेम तत्पादभाजाम्। Hare Krishna. Welcome to today's discussion of Tattva Sandarbha. So today we'll discuss Anuched. That is 60th Anuched. In the 59th Anuched, we discussed the various lakshanas, definitions of we discussed the definitions of various lakshanas of Mahapurana. Any Mahapurana is characterized with the various things actually. And those characteristics are 10 actually. And the purpose of these 10 characteristics is just, that means out of the 10, 9, you can say 9. 9 characteristics are there just to establish the 10th one. And that's why is 9. That means total. What is the meaning of this? Characteristic means so that is the subject matter. Otherwise, you can say that otherwise 10 topics also you can say. These 10 characteristics also you can say another way. 10 topics of the Mahapurana. That means that Mahapurana is dealing about those 10 topics. Out of the, you know the names of all those 10 topics. And these 10 topics, out of that, the last one is the Ashray Tattvam. And that is the main, that means the essence of all the Bhagavatam, all that Mahapurana. So Ashray Tattvam is the essence. And that's why to establish the 10th topic, all other 9 topics are there. That means in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are studying these 9 topics. So it's not the purpose of knowing those 9, but ultimately the purpose is so knowing about the 10th one. Similarly, the way we already came to know, the purpose of studying of Jivatma is not the for that knowing that Jivatmas, not for the sake of the knowing that Jivatma, but knowing about for what? For knowing about the Paramatma and the heroes. So, but these 10 characteristics or 10 topics are dealing about the sum total padartha. So that's a totality. Otherwise, we can say these 10 topics are dealing about the total thing. And studying about the Jiva means we are dealing with the individual thing. And these 10 topics are dealing about the total thing. And through that, so through these 9 topics, we are establishing the 10th one. To establish this 10th one, you have to know what are those 9 and what is the definition of those 9. You should know. So that's why these 9 things are in last class we have seen. What is the definitions? What is the definition of all those? So sarga means what? What is a sarga? Who is going to tell? Sarga means. Want to say quickly these 9?
Creation.
Primary creation.
It is what?
Primary creation.
Creation means what? Creating of what?
Panch Mahabhut and 23 elements.
23 elements. So majorly created 23 elements. And also Maya, when Lord glances on Maya, Maya immediately she understands what is the intention of the Lord, why he is glancing on me. If someone is seeing at you, so you can understand why he is seeing. So he is asking help, or he is wanting something to say, or he wants to, so showing the affection, whatever. So by these glances, you can understand. She is also having such a ability. Maya Devi. Immediately she understands why Lord is glancing. So why Lord is glancing on her? Anyone knows? What she understood from that? If you are seeing someone, so there is some purpose, na? What is being cause of that? What she understood from this? What Maya understood when Lord glanced at her Karna no Sai Vishnu? Amok Prabhu? What she understood? My voice is audible. Something, my voice is down. Is it audible?
It's audible but down.
Huh?
It's audible, but it looks down.
I'll come near to the. Tell me.
Oh, I say Maya understood that Lord wants to.
Why you are saying? You are Amog Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Tell
Hare
me.
Krishna.
What she understood when Lord glanced at her?
So, actually, Lord wants to do some first times with the Jivatmas or devotees, those who are in subconscious state.
No. Who are you going to tell? Nam Sankirtan will tell.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Sorry,
What she understood?
can you please repeat the question again? It was just not so easy to hear.
I was asking, when Lord glances on her, what Maya understood? If someone is glancing on someone, towards someone, so there should be some intention behind that. What is the intention?
So I don't think I'm able to answer this question.
Good. Who is going to tell them? Akshay Prabhu, this is chance for you.
I don't know correctly, but Maya understood that Lord wants to do the creation, and she assists in Lord's creation.
Just I asked, maybe you enthusiastically you may say, but you people are all forgot this actually. I discussed in the Bhakti Vaibhava class. So that's why I was asking. What Pidambar Prabhu, you are speaking without muting. You want to say? Bhagrai Prabhu, you tell. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yes, please.
Prabhu, at that time, when Lord glanced on Maya, Maya understood that Lord wants to take rest in a new place.
That is the thing. Lord is desiring to sleep in a new place. Already he is sleeping. Karma Vishnu is always sleep. So that's why she created the place for the sleeping. So that means Srishti Leela is also, you should understand, it is just out of ecstasy only it is done. Srishti Leela is not having any purpose. That means Lord is not having any purpose behind this. Like a it's not that someone will recognize me and after that I will get the national champion. In that I will participate and then I will get this some award. Is it the purpose of that madman? So in dancing, is there any purpose? Is there nothing? So just out of his ecstasy. Similarly, Lord is also just wants to sleep in the different places, and she created. So that's why it is establishing what is he is not having that, oh, this Jivatmas has to get this, and that is my duty. Is not like that. Out of ecstasy, he does many things, and then also his activities are such a perfect activities. The miscreants are always are punished because he is perfect happens and all are perfect. That is the greatness of the Lord, and his activities are all perfect. That's why, because all the qualities it brings. So for example, when Lord Shakatashur was there, so Shakatashur at that time, so Lord just he kicked the cart, that cart. Why he kicked the cart? Does he want to kill the Shakatasur? Is the main purpose? The better thing is what? Now kick this cart. Then it will fly into air. So that's why he kicked. Then automatically killing of Shakatasur also happened because his activity is so perfect. This Sarga. Then what is the Visarga? Sthiti. Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanamutaya. Who is going to tell? Shailam. Which points you missed, Mataji? Can you tell? Unmute it, Mataji. Okay, okay.
We missed the points from the beginning, Prabhuji, where you told from Maya, why Lord, Supreme Lord glanced on Maya. From the beginning, the voice is breaking and we cannot hear properly.
Oh, acha, acha, acha. So I will repeat. So
Yes.
what? Yeah, what I was saying. So why Lord was glancing on the Maya? Because she understood that Lord wants to just have a new place to sleep. So that is the purpose. So that is the intention actually why Lord is glancing. So he is just he is always doing these leelas out of his ecstasy, due to his internal potency, blissful potency, and he doesn't have any material reason. That means establishing the dharma. That means which is bhautika dharma. That means otherwise varna and ashrama dharma. That is not his main goal. The main goal is that is not his main goal. But why he do the various leelas? He is doing his leelas out of the ecstasy, and he wants to give ecstasy to his devotees. So that is the main thing actually. So that is only we are observing in the case of the Srishti Leela also. That is the point I want to make. So he is glancing on her. It's not that the creating this creation and then after that he wants to kill these demons. That is not his main goal. The main goal is he's out of ecstasy like a children. What he does sometimes in the childhood, so they used to play with the mud and they make the different structures, and they were always thinking that it is my place to sleep and I will be having kitchen and I am cooking like that. With the playfully they do, so they are not having any special purpose, just out of the bliss they do. Similarly, out of that means out of the ecstasy they do. So same way here also, Lord is also doing the creation out of ecstasy only. So that is the thing. And I was also saying, any activity, any lila Lord does. So the reason is behind that is ecstasy only, not any material cause. So material cause cannot be the reason. Material situation is not the cause for that. Example, I told that Shakatasur. That point you heard or not? Yes? No.
Prabhu, no.
No. Okay. In the case of the Shakatasur also, I was giving example. In the case of the Shakatasur, Krishna just pushed that cart and he broken. He has broken that. The reason is what? The reason is he is having that. The reason is he having any intention of killing the Shakatasur as the main intention? That is not his main purpose. So even that Leela, if you see why he is kicking, he kicked that cart just to make a big sound because his mother was not coming. He woke up from the sleep. After waking up, immediately he wanted to get the milk because children after waking up, they feel hungry and they want milk to drink immediately. And he started crying, but mother was not coming because she was fully engaged with the other gopis in arranging the things for that Karvat Leela. So then that's why Lord thought that what is the best way is making a big noise. So how to make? Then kick this cart. And then he kicked that cart. Then what happened? The cart flew into air and big sound came. It was broken and big sound came and then she came. So then automatically Shakatasura also was pushed into the ground, who is inside into that cart. So in this way, when Lord do any Leela, he is done out of his ecstasy only. Here the kicking of the cart is what is the main reason? To calling the mother. Calling the mother is the main intention. That is the main thing actually. And that is how it is a devotion. It is a Leela actually. It is out of his ecstasy. And other things also will happen. The killing of the demons also will happen. These are all out of, so these are byproducts actually. So that is the point I want to say here. Sarga is also like that. Glancing also is like that only. Is out of ecstasy only. So Sarga and Visarga means the creation of the Brahmaji. Paurusham, that means whatever the thing done by the Brahmaji is known as is the Visarga. Visarga, and after that Sthanam. Sthanam is also known as Sthiti. Sthiti means Sthitir Vaikunta Vijayaha. That means the victory of the Vishnu is known as the Sthiti. What is that victory? That means maintaining all the substances in this creation to follow their respective dharmas. Like example I said yesterday, like water is following its nature, and it's not that today water is like water and tomorrow it is exhibiting the nature of the petrol. No, it is maintaining its It is following that. So to follow that, there should be some maintainer. Otherwise, how all the things are is as it is. Why the planets are rotating with the same speed? Why they are not increasing and decreasing? And why all these objects are exhibiting the same nature? Because there should be some maintainer. Otherwise, how it will happen? If you don't maintain your room the 2 days, so everything will become dirty and everything will become so very uneasy. That means not uncomfortable actually. The same way, this whole universe and trees are giving the fruits on the time. Why they are giving? Because Lord is maintaining. That is a victory, his victory. He is maintaining all the things. Otherwise, how? It's not anything, is nothing is happening automatically. This is everything is fully perfectly, it is planned, and there is a perfect cause behind that. And that is the supreme personality of Godhead. But modern science, actually, they accept the process of random theory process. This probability process is just bogus. The activities, the events which are not properly or which are beyond our calculation and beyond our proper reasoning. So whatever the events are happening, so humans generally they make it as a probability theory actually, and they try to estimate that whole. That means they try to calculate the whole process through the random theory process. And this is not the perfect process. It is involved with some error actually. But if you see the Lord, so Lord is behind every event. Even a small ant is moving, there is a perfect reason behind that. And who is that reason? And that Lord knows everything actually. And since we are limited, we are not knowing, and we are simply speculating, and we are giving this some different calculation processes. This theory, that theory, they are all actually mathematics we use to understand the phenomena which are happening in the nature. So these theories are actually not perfect. They are all approximately, they are estimating or evaluating the natural processes. So that's why any intelligent person will not follow their methods actually. Their methods are defective methods. They are all defective. Any perfect person means they should follow the Krishna actually. So that is the point. Next, Sthitir Vaikunta Vijayaha. So next point is Poshanam. Poshanam means here we have to take Poshanam of what? Poshanam of the Poshanam means protecting the devotees. Lord's main, he is taking his vow to protect his devotees, not that the ever living entity. He doesn't want to protect. He doesn't have any that kind of obligation to protect each and every living entity. So he is having his promise. So is going to protect his own devotees. It doesn't mean that he is impartial. No, he is he is partial. No. So you cannot say that he is partial by this. He is impartial only because anyone comes to him, he will immediately protect them. So if you are not going, means that is your fault. But he is impartial to everyone. So that's why anyone comes, Artha Jignasi Ardhardu, Ardharti, or Gnani. Any kind of, with any desire, if you go, immediately he will sanction that. So that's why he is equal to everyone. So even he is not checking your background, from which background you are coming. No. Immediately, if you just surrender to him, he will accept. That is the impartiality actually. That's why he is impartial. But he didn't take any kind of so-called responsibility of protecting every jivatma in their own miseries. But he designed a karma, law of karma for them. And according to the karma, the principle, the jivatmas get the. So whoever are away from the Lord, whoever turn their face away from the Lord, so they are all governed by the law of karma. And that law of karma is next is coming, that is Utayaha. Utayaha is, so according to the jivatma's previous karma, it is getting the various results. Then after that, Manvantarani. So Manvantarani means Manvantareshanu Kataha. So we are breaking this word into Manvantarani means what is it? Manvantarani cha Ishakatascha. So Manvantaras and Ishakatas. You have to take. So this has two. Manvantarani means Manvantara means the stories, the history of the Manus, or otherwise the devotees in that Manvantara. is known as Manvantarani. Isha Kataha means so the pastimes of the Krishna and also his Parshadas. So these are the Isha Kathas like this. And next what? Nirodha. Nirodha means so devastation. That means Jivatma is entering into the Lord's body, Karanano Sai Vishnu's body, along with its karma. So this is known as karma. Karma is not created by the Maya, but it's not coming under the 23 elements. But karma is there with this Jivatma from time immemorial, from beginningless. So along with that karma, it is entering into the body of the so Karanano Sai Vishnu at the final devastation. That means after the 100 years of the Brahma. So then once again, so when he desires, then everything comes out automatically, and so they happens as a byproduct of this his lila. So they come into back to the Brahmanda and they get the new body. So Brahmaji is sanctioning that. So this this is Nirodha. Mukti means when Jivatma is completely free from that karma, bondage of karma, then that is known as Mukti. And what is the difference between Nirodha and Mukti? In the case of Nirodha, karma is accompanying the Jivatma, and in the case of Mukti, karma is finished. There is no karma at all. And Jivatma is completely free from the karma. So that is known as Mukti. And final one is Ashraya. What is that Ashraya? That is the shelter for everything. So that is the Ashraya. That which is the cause for the Srishti and the creation and the devastation, everything. And or otherwise, which is the Sarva Jivanam Jnanendriyeshu Prakashate. Otherwise, which illuminates all the senses. Voice is breaking. Still voice is breaking, Prabhu. Not proper. Completely difficult. At least manageable. Okay. 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 Monday, from Monday onwards, I will do direct class. So next Ashray Tattvam, how to understand this? Tavan Jivanam Jnanendriyeshu Prakashate. Jivanam, that means which illuminates the senses otherwise. So that means which spreads its light in the senses. Otherwise, it is the eye to eye, or it is the, that's why in the Upanishad it is said, it is eye to the eye, because all the senses are illuminated by the power of the Lord. So that's why in this way also you can understand it is the Ashraya. Anyway, that is being explained in this next slokas. Vivrutihi agre vidheya. So that means in the coming slokas, this Ashraya Tattva is explained like this. I am continuing now today's class here onwards. So sthitau cha tatra ashraya swarupam aparokshanubhavena ishtidvarapi spashtam darshayitum adhyatmadi vibhagam aha. What today we want to learn? We want to learn about Ashraya Tattvam, which is completely independent, and that we are going to understand by studying the Adhyatmam, Adidaivam, Adibhutam. That means Adhyatmika Purushaha, Adidaivika, Adhyatmika, Adhyatmika Purushaha, Adidaivika Purushaha, or Adibhautika Purushaha. So we are going to study these three Purushas. So, and after that we are understanding there is one more Purusha who is separate from these three Purushas. So who is the shelter for all these Purushas, and that is nothing but the Ashraya Tattva. So that is a discussion, today's discussion. First of all, so we should know who is the Adhyatmika Purusha, who is the Adi Daivika Purusha, and who is the Adi Bhautika Purusha, and finally who is a shelter for all these, and why these three cannot become shelter of any other. So why can't we accept any one of these as the shelter of the everything? Why we have to accept another Purusha? That also will understand. These three Purushas are there. Why don't we accept any one of these as the supreme Purusha or the supreme shelter for everything? So the reason also we will discuss today. First of all, we understand the basic terminology of this. Then after that, we will understand why can't they, any one of the three can become the ultimate shelter. That also will understand. Anyone cannot become the separate from these three Purushas. The another one. So that is only the shelter for these three. That point we'll see today. First of all, this line, what is saying? Stitaucha. Sthiti means in the maintenance time, in the period of maintenance. Because total time is divided like this: creation time, maintenance time, devastation time. So this discussion, whatever we are seeing, Adi Daivika Purushaha, Adhyatmika Purushaha, or Adi Bhautika Purusha exist in what time? In the time of the maintenance. So that's why Stitaucha Tatra Ashraya Swarupam Aparokshanubhavena Veshtidvarapi Spashtam Darshetum Adyat Adhyatmadi Vibhagam Aha. Adhyatma means Adhyatmika Purusha, Adi Daivika Purusha, Adi Bhautika Purusha. This kind of division is said in this 10th in the 10th chapter of 2nd canto. Why Sukadeva Goswami is discussing about the Adi Daivika Purusha, Adhyatmika or Adi Bhautika? Is there any purpose, or just he is discussing? He is having the purpose. What is that purpose? He wants to establish Ashraya Tattvam. Why he is discussing about these three Purushas? He wants to clearly show the Ashraya Tattvam. That is his main purpose. This Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika is our experience actually. These three Purushas we can day-to-day life, every day we experience. So that's why it is Aparoksha Anubhava. It is what? It is a direct experience. Aparoksha Anubhava means direct experience. That means we are going to define the Ashraya Tattvam by discussing this classification, which is directly experienceable. And this happens about what? This whole Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika Purusha is with respect to individual entity. It's not related to the total, sum total. No. It is about this individual entity. That means Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika Purushas are what? Related to the each and every soul. Not the sum total. In the sum total way, we are not discussing. Not in the Virat structure. With that level, we are not discussing. It is at the individual level. These Purushas are existing. And this division is helpful to understand the Ashraya Tattva. So that's why Sukadeva Goswami is telling the following slokas. This line is clear. So next, Yaha Adhyatmikoyam Purushaha So Savevadi Daivikaha Yaha Tatro Vayavicheda Purusho Hyadi Bhautikaha Ekamekatara Bhave Yada Nopalabhamahe Tritayam Tatrayo Veda Sa Atma Swashrayashrayah Yaha Adhyatmikaha Purushaha Sahaeva Adi Daivika Purushaha. क्या कह रहे हैं? What he is saying? Yaha Adhyatmika Purushaha Sahaeva Adi Daivika Purushaha. Whoever is Adhyatmika Purusha, he is only Adi Daivika Purusha. Both are one. Tatra, Yaha tatra ubhaya vichchedah purushah hi adi bhautikah. That means initially both are one. Who? Adhyatmika Purusha and Adi Daivika Purusha. But there is another person is coming, another Purusha is coming. What he is doing? He is separating these two. Yah Ubhaya Vichchedah. That means the one who is going to divide these two. He is Adi Bhautika Purusha. Understood? Meaning of sloka. Next sloka. Ekam ekatara bhave yada nopalabhamahe. These three Purushas are such a way. Ekam ekatara bhave. If one is missing any one out of these two, if one is missing any one out of remaining two, he cannot function. He cannot function. Three are there. If you take any one, that person, that Purusha, without the any one of the remaining two, he cannot function. That means what? It is a paraspara ashraya. They are all dependent on each other. How to make a diagram of this? If you take three entities and they are dependent on each other, then how will you connect with the arrows? It's like this. I'll just explain 1 second. So my screen is visible. No? You can see what I am asking. There are three entities are there. Take 1, 2, 3. One without the any one of remaining two cannot function. That means this without any one of these two cannot function. That means what? This is dependent on this. And also this is dependent on this. This is dependent on this, and also this is dependent on this. Okay, and also this dependent on this. Okay, you can make like this otherwise. This is dependent on like this way. This is dependent on this, and this is also dependent on this, and this is also dependent on this, and this is also dependent on it. And similarly, like this, dependency is there. So this Paraspara Ashrayata is there. From this we are understanding Ekam Ekatara Bhave. Ekam means one, Ekatara means one among the two. Abhave means absence. So if there is absence of the one among the remaining two, so Ekam means this one, na upalabhamahe means it will not function, or it cannot produce the result. Tritayam tatra yo Veda. Whoever is knowing these three, whoever is knowing the Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmik Purushas, three Purushas, Saha Atma. He is the Atma and he is the Swashraya Ashraya. Who is he? That Atma means he is. You should take here Paramatma. And Swashraya Ashraya he is Swashraya. That means he is self-dependent. Swashraya and Ashraya means he is also shelter for remaining others. Swashraya. That means he is dependent on himself. Ashraya. And one more Ashraya is there. He is dependent and he is sorry. Swashraya means he is dependent on himself. That means himself is a shelter. And Ashraya. Next is Ashraya. What is it? That means this Swashraya is a shelter for everything. So that's why who is that? That is Paramatma. This is the basic meaning of this sloka. Now we'll see the commentary on this. We'll try to understand what is this Adhyatmika Purusha and all. So Jiva Goswami is explaining here. Yaha ayam Adhyatmika Purusha Chakshuradi Karanabhimani Drashta Jivaha. Who is Adhyatmika Purusha? Yaha Purusha Chakshuradi Karanabhimani. Adhyatmika Purusha is first one. Who is this? Chakshuradi Karanabhimani. We are having the senses. So 5 senses, knowledge senses. Karana Abhimani. Abhimani means the one who claims the ownership on the senses. Mata is getting sleep. Feeling sleepy. Good. These are the 5 senses. Whoever is claiming ownership on these 5 senses, he is Adhyatmika Purusha. That means he is seeing or experiencing the various objects through the senses and thinking that I am seeing and these senses are mine. Who is this? This Adhyatmika Purusha. He is also what Jiva Goswami read. He is a Drashta. Adhyatmika Purusha is also known as Drashta. And he is Jivaha. Not the Jivatma. Jivaha. That means he is not the full pure Jivatma who is claiming the ownership on these senses. That kind of Jivatma, not the Shuddha Jivatma. That is different. Shuddha Jivatma is different. When that Shuddha Jivatma associate with the modes or the products of the modes, that means false ego and others, then that is known as Jivaha. That is not pure. That is then it become impure. Impure means it is because of that association. So that's why that sloka I said, that Jadabartha sloka. What is that? I forgot that. Eta Manas. What is that sloka? 2 days back I said. Anyone remember? kshetragnayeta manaso vibhutir jevasya maya rachitasya nitya avirhita kwapi tirohitascha shuddho vichaste avishuddha kartuhu. So shuddha being chinmatra satta is a pure, but now he is entering into the all these vrittis which are made by this mind. If we study this sloka, na, we will understand that on that day our Prabhuji, our yes, Vikas Prabhu was asking. So you will understand there. So what is this jiva and shuddha jiva? So okay, this is adhyatmika purusha. Next, what is said? Sahayeva adidaivikascha. This purusha only, this adhyatmika purusha is only adidaivika. This purusha is adidaivika purusha. Adidaivika cha chakshuradi adhisthata. Actually, who is this? This Adidaivika Purusha is the person, or is the person who sit in senses. Who sits in senses. Senses are adhisthana. Senses are what? Adhisthana. Senses are adhishthanam. And who is adhisthata? The one who is sitting in that place is known as adhisthata. Who is that? That is adidaivika purusha. So who is those? Who are those? Those are the Suryadi. In each sense, particular demigod sits. In each sense, particular demigod sits. Like example, in the eyes, who is sitting? Sun. The sun god is sitting. Suryadi. Example is eyes. For eyes, eyes is the sense and sun god. Okay. Next, why it is said Adhyatmika Purusha, who is claiming the senses as his own, that person is equal to Adidaiva Purusha? Why it is said? The reason is given here. The reason behind this, why we are calling these two as one. Deha Srustehe Purvam. What is said? Deha Srustehe Purvam. Reason to call both as one. Reason to call 1 is equal to 2. Why? What is that reason? Before creating this gross body, before creating gross body, or before getting the gross body, Karananam Adhisthana Abhavena Akshamataya Karana Prakasha Kartrutva Tat Sahayayoho Ubayoho Api Tayoho Vrutti Bheda Anudayena Jivatvamatra Avisheshat. This is the reason. What is said here? So first I will explain the phenomena, then you will understand the line. What he said here, the point is, before having this gross body, Adi Bhautika Purusha, what is happening? Jivatma is with the senses. This is Jivatma you take with the senses and also the particular demigods. These are there. Each sense is the sitting place for the demigods. These are there. Now, soul, Jivatma, and senses and demigods. So that Jivatma, which is claiming the senses as owner, is known as Jiva. That is the Adhyatmika Purusha. So that you understood already. And these demigods, who are also known as Adidavika Purusha. Now, what he said here, before having this gross body, these senses are not active because they will not function. So because they need support, without the eyeball, the eye sense cannot sit. You're understanding? You see, this is eye ball, white ball, and in between there is a black ball. And in between there is very subtle. This subtle thing is, you are able to see this subtle one, very minute and very subtle actually. This subtle sense is known as chakshu actually. This is really chakshu, not this eyeball, white one or the black one is not the eye. The very subtle element is there, which is cause for the visibility, vision, which is cause for the vision of the some particular person. So that's why this is sense, and this is not Adi Bhautika means this white ball and black ball together. This is a sitting place of the sense. In that sense, who is sitting? In that sense, this very subtle is there. In that, demigod is sitting. Okay, senses are sitting place for the demigods, and this sense is located where? Is resting on this Adi Bhautika. Okay, Adi Bhautika Padartha. That's why now, when this is not created, this Adi Bhautika Padartha, senses are not having any base, and that's why they cannot function. And that means they cannot function means this is Jivatma, I said, na? This is soul. This soul cannot claim I am the seer of something. He cannot claim himself as I am the seer of something. That means otherwise the vritti or the bhava is not created. What kind of bhava? I am the seer of some so and so. I am the owner of these senses. So this kind of Vishay Grahanam or otherwise perceiving the things cannot happen. That means the vritti for this Purusha, soul plus senses together, is known as what? This is known as Adhyatmika Purusha. Already I said, the owner of the soul which is claiming the senses as, which is claiming himself as the owner for the senses is known as Adhyatmika Purusha. And now without this gross body, the senses are not functioning, and also there is no vritti generated that I am the seer of this object. Okay, that is the point one. That vritti is not generated. And also these demigods, what they do, they are the cause for the senses to grasp the objects, external objects. They are pravartaka. Pravartaka means they are the cause for functioning of senses. Since now senses are not having the base, so they are also not functioning. And these demigods who are sitting in that senses, they are also not functioning. So since both are not having the functions, that means both Purushas, the soul who is claiming as senses, who claims senses as himself as owner of the senses, and that Purusha, and the Purusha who is helping the senses to see the objects, and that Purusha are not functioning at all now. So that's why you see both are as commonly as what? As Jiva. Jivatvam is common. That means if anyone is not acting as a teacher, can you call him as a teacher? No. He is simply standing, then you will say he is a Manusha only. But when he goes to the classroom and he is teaching in the he's using blackboard and he is speaking and taking the textbook and he is telling that means subject matter to the student, then you call the teacher. Otherwise, can you call him as a teacher? No, no. Similarly, these demigods are not doing the activity of helping the senses, or also sense the soul, which claims the senses as a which claims the owner of the himself as a owner for the senses, and he can also not functioning. So in that respect, commonly you are saying all both together as jiva. This is the reason to say Adhyatmika Purusha is Adi Daivika Purusha, since both are not producing their respective activities. So commonly they are seen now, and that is Jiva. So that's why we are calling Adhyatmika Purusha is equal to the Adi Daivika Purusha. Yaha Adhyatmika Purusha Saha Adi Daivika. Like that it is said. Now what? Understood. So next point is what is said. Karana Prakasha Kartruttvabhimani. Karana Prakasha Kartruttvabhimani. Who is that? That is Adhyatmika Purusha. Tat Sahayaha. Who is the helper of that? That is the Adi Daivika Purusha. Sahayayoho. That means of both. Ubayoho. That means of both. Tayoho Vritti Beda Anudayena. That means they are not functioning individually. They are not functioning in their respective. They are not producing any their activities, their different activities. So that's why Anudayena, that means Vritti Beda Anudayena, Beda Anudayena, that means the difference is not produced. When you call Adhyatmika Purusha, when he does some activity of that particular thing, then only you can call him as the Adi Daivika, but he is not doing that. And similarly, this the senses are not functioning. That's why this Jivatma also cannot claim himself as I'm the seer through these senses. So that's why, so both are seen as one. So that is as Jiva. Next, tataha ubayaha karanabhimani. Ubaya means karanabhimani. That means who claims the ownership on the senses. Karanabhimani. Tad adhishtatru devata rupa. Tad adhishtatru devata means, so who is the sitting in on senses? That is Adi Daivika Purusha. So devata rupaha, virupaha, vichedaha, yasmat. These both can be now separated. By what? By whom? These both are separated by whom? He is the Adi Bhautika Purusha. He is Adi Bhautika Purusha. So when that means body is given to this Jivatma, then immediately gross body is given, then these senses are started functioning. So they respective, and then Jivatma is claiming, so I am the owner of these senses. And also Indriya, the Adhisthana Devatas are also started helping these senses. So that's why both are now started doing the differently activities. That's why you can call them as separate, different. So that's why who is cause for the separating these two? That is Adi Bhautika Purusha. Saha Adi Bhautikaha. Who is that? Chakshuradi Golakadji Upalakshitaha. Who is that Adi Bhautika Purusha? Chakshuradi Golaka. That means that ball, that Chakshu Gola is the Adi Bhautika Purusha. Don't say that this is this one is I. I means not this ball. I is not at all that. The sense I is, which is very subtle, which is lying on that. That is a body actually. This I ball is body. Is a body. Deha. That is a Purusha. This body is also known as Purusha. Yes, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, we all know 5 Purushas are there. Anna Purusha, Pranamaya Purusha. Third one is Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. There are the 5 Purushas. The first Purusha is what? Annamaya Purusha, who is formed because of out of this earth materials. Which is that means Anna is coming from this earth, and by this body is developed. From the childhood we are eating, we are eating, and that If you go for the so Viryam and the Reta, from there also they all are produced from the Anna only. When this Anna is given Ahuti in the Purusha, then that is producing the Reta or the semen also, and both are together mixing and this body is formed. So that's why it is, and after that it is also growing based upon Anna only. So that's why it is known as Annamaya Purusha. This is known as Annamaya Purusha. So that's why it is said, Savayeshaha Purusho Anna Rasamayaha. Anna Rasamayaha. This body is made up of Anna Rasa. And it is dividing. These two. Okay, this is the first sloka. Meaning, Yo Adhyatmikoyam Purushaha So Aso Adidaivikaha. So Yaha Tatra Obhayochedaha Purushaha Hi Adi Bhautikaha. Next, Ekam Ekatara Bhave Yada Nopalabhamahe. Now we are going to see the interdependency among these three. That is the next discussion. So because you cannot establish any one of Purusha as the ultimate shelter of everything. Can you say? You cannot say. So why? Because it is also dependent on others. So if you show all these three are mutually dependent, then so we can simply say that these three Purushas are not the Ashray Tattva which is discussed, which is said in the 10 topics. So to say, that means what is our goal now? These three Purushas are not independent. They are all dependent on others. So that's why these three cannot be the ultimate shelter. That is our goal actually. So to reach our goal, we have to first establish the interdependency. How to do that? Let's go. Ekam ekatara bhave ityesham Anyonya Sapeksha Siddhatve. Anyonya Sapeksha Siddhatve. Anyonya Sapekshatva means they are dependent on Vetambar Prabhu. Last में लेंगे हैं अभी चल लेंगे class. We'll take last class. Doubts after the class. I want to finish this and then I will give some extra time for you. So now ekam anyonya sapeksha siddhatve. So if you establish the interdependency, then they cannot become the ashraya. So that means we are going to show the interdependence, and also we are showing they are dependent on many. So one is dependent on many, one is dependent on only another one, but it is dependent on another one also. That we are going to see. Nana shrayatvam darshayati. So tatahi, first of all, tatahi drishyam vina tat pratityanumeyam karanam na siddhyati. First point is what? I'll go to board. See the board. Here. Tatahi, so drishyam vina tat pratit chanumeyam karanam na siddhyati. Now example, this body is not there. Body is what? Is the object to be seen. With the eyes, you will be seeing your body or others' body, yes or no? Gross body is the object to be seen. Na? So that's why what we say, it is a drishyam. Drishyam means object to be seen. If this is not there, drishyam vina, without this, first of all, senses cannot have the sitting place. That is one problem. Next is tat pratiti anume. How can you say there is a sense? Eye is there. When you see some object, then the soul is thinking that as I am seeing some object. So that means the experience of or experiencing of this object is inference to this sense. What I am saying? experience. Who is experiencing? Soul. Soul is experiencing. That means the pratiti, or otherwise experience of the object. Object means drishyam, means gross element. Annamaya Purusha, or otherwise you can take. This object to be seen. This experience of this object is the inference to senses. So when you, that means what? Oh, you are seeing object means yes, senses are there. Otherwise, can you see the senses? Yeah, this is senses. Can you locate? No, nah. How you are saying that I am having the eyes? Because you are seeing the objects. That's why you are saying I am having eyes. That means this experience is the inference to say existence of senses. Yes. And also this object is the cause. Or this body is the cause. I am taking Adi Bhautika means object also, okay? Is a cause, is a place where these senses can sit. Otherwise, where they can exist, and where they can function. Okay. So that's why without this drishyam, these senses are having the no existence, and also cannot be inferred without the object to be seen. Otherwise, you cannot also understand senses are there. And next, this soul also cannot become the seer. If the object to be seen is not there, can you say at that time soul is as a seer? No. That's why now, in the previous class, what we said in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the Sushupti, Jivatma is, what is said? What is the sloka that? Anyone remember? We studied that. Yad vai tanna pashyati pashyan vai dashtavyatna pashyati. That means the soul which claims senses as the which claims ownership on the senses, that soul cannot be a seer. The pure Jivatma is always seer. So, but the soul which become the seer through the senses, that means which claims the ownership on the senses, in that state, in that condition, can you say that soul is seer? Or that kind of situation, if you take as for the soul, can you say in that situation soul is a seer? No. So that's why soul cannot become. So that means not simple soul, not pure soul. The soul, Adi Daivika Purusha, that means, Adhyatmika Purusha, that means who claims senses as their property. So that soul cannot be a seer, cannot be drashta. Understanding? Please try to understand. Next, what he said, Nacha tadvina karana pravrutti anumeya. Tadvina means without the seer. That means you should take what? Drashta, seer, soul. Is Adhyatmika Purusha. Total is known as Adhyatmika Purusha. If this Adhyatmika Purusha is not there, okay, this is one Adi Bhautika Purusha. This is two Adhyatmika Purusha. Now, if he is not there, Adhyatmika Purusha is not there. Now the Adi Daivika Purusha, can he help anyone? The person who is going to take help, he should be there. Na? Then only helper can do something help. Adi Daivika Purusha is the helper. If Adhyatmika Purusha is not there, So Adi Daivika Purusha can help to whom? So that's why Adi Daivika Purusha cannot become Adi Daivika. Adi Daivika means who is helping the Jivatma to, who is helping the senses to illuminate the various objects. So that is not there. So that means this Adi Daivika Purusha is also is not without the Adhyatmic Purusha, Adi Daivika Purusha cannot function. And that is not the established. It cannot be accomplished. Adi Daivikatvam cannot be established. That means Karana Pravritti Anumeya. So by seeing the Karana Pravritti means if you came to know senses are functioning, means there is someone is helping this. So from this you can understand now Surya Bhagavan is sanctioning, that means nicely to me, so that I am able to see. That means he is helping me. So that means by how can you infer the Adidayika Purusha? By seeing the pravritti, by seeing the activeness of the senses. By seeing the functions of the senses are not activeness. By seeing the function of the senses, you can infer the Adidayika. By seeing the function of senses, we can infer Adidayika. This. Okay. Next. So that means without Adhyatmic Purusha, this is Adhyatmika. 2. This is 3. Without 2, 3 will not become fruitful. 3 will not become fruitful. Next, or otherwise it cannot be possible actually. Adidaivikatvam is not possible. Next, Tatra Tada Nachatam Vina Karanam Pravartate, and also without the Adidayvika Purusha, Karanam na Pravartate, this senses and this is soul. Sense and this is soul, totally known as is the Adhyatmic Purusha. These senses will not function at all. That means Adi Daivika Purusha cannot function without Adi Daivika, because his help is needed. That is clear. It's very easy. Next, Nacha tam vina karanam pravartate. Without Adi Daivika Purusha, senses will not function. Next, Nacha tad vina drishyam. So without the senses, so this object cannot become the object to be seen. This vastu, this padartha cannot become the object for the seeing action without the senses. That means without the senses, object cannot become the object for the seeing action. Yes? So that's why. What is happening? This is dependent on this. Or otherwise, this is dependent on this. And next, what we said? This Adidayvika Purusha, this is dependent on this. And similarly, Karanam is not functioning without this. That means this is dependent on this. First, what we said, I'm confused actually. Once again. So he is dependent on this. Without this, this is not functioning. He is dependent on this, like this, you put arrow. And next, without the Tadvina Karana Pravritti Anumeyaha. Without him, he is not functioning. That means he is dependent on this. Without this, this cannot function. Without this, this cannot function. Without this, this cannot function. So that's why I am putting arrow is like this. Without this, this cannot function. Without this, this cannot function. That's why I am putting arrow here. And next what? Without this, without this, this cannot function. I said, and also without this, this cannot function. Money as like this also you can take. And also what is said? Without this, this cannot function. Without this, this cannot function. Okay. That means this is also dependent on this and this. This is also dependent on this. Obviously. So this is also is there actually. We can get this also. That is obviously if you see this from this, you can understand. Adi Daivika without this is also not possible. In the sloka is not said this, but you can also take. Without this gross body, senses will not be not there, and without there is no place of sitting place of the senses, and Adi Daivi Purusha also cannot sit. So without this, it is also not possible. And without the Adi Daivi Purusha, this is not going to function. Senses are not going to function. If senses are not functioning, so this you cannot call as an object for the seeing action. So that's why everywhere there is mutual dependency is there. Like this also. Like this. Okay. This is the mutual dependency. The same diagram we did there also. In the first starting. This is known as mutual dependency. So that's why, since these three Adi Daivika Purusha, Adi Bhautika Purusha, Adi Daivika Purusha, Adhyatmika Purusha, Adi Daivika Purusha, Adi Bhautika Purusha. These three are dependent on others. So that's why what we are saying, iti ekatarasya abhave ekam na upalabhamahe. Without any one of these two, it is not going to function. Similarly, without any one of two, this also. Similarly, without any one of these two, so this also is not going to function. Clear? Not going to work. Clear? So that's why. Then what he said in the next? Tatra tada tat tritayam tritayam alochanatmakena prayatnena yo. So that's why if you become little intelligent, so if you, that means tritayam alochanatmakatvena prayatnena yo veda. That means just it is intelligence only. No need to study any big scriptures. So just if we use our intelligence, then we can understand there is a one more person who is independent from these three. Because there is a need. Any one of these three cannot become the ultimate shelter of the others. No. So that's why there is one more Purusha who is a Purushottamaha. So that is what? Sakshitaya Pashyati Sa Paramatma Ashraya, who is seeing these three Purushas, always observing these three Purushas. And who is that? That is Paramatma. Teshamapi parasparashrayatvam astiti tadu vyavachedardam visheshan. That's why this fourth Purusha is separated from these three Purushas by giving you the special visheshana for that. What is that? Swashraya Ashraya. Just 1 minute. Swashraya Ashraya means, so Swashraya means Ananya Ashraya. He is not having other things as shelter. That means independent on himself. And Sacha so Anyesham Ashraya. And also he is a shelter for others. This statement is saying he is a shelter for others also. And he is the Paramatma. Okay. This is the, tomorrow we'll see the remaining thing. Okay, not a, quickly you can finish tomorrow. And also you can go to the next lecture. On 2 more, that means 2 more classes maximum. Not 2, no, 3 na actually. Another 2 more classes, yes. Maximum 2. 2 or otherwise 3. Not able to, actually topics are little bit complex, so taking time. Our committed time is May 10th. Maximum should finish, but yeah, 2-3 days maybe here and there. Okay, any questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam.
Yeah.
First question was this three Purusha, Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika.
Yeah.
In the Tritayam Yoveda,
Yeah.
there is also three Purusha avatars. And Vishnu Puran says one who knows these three Purushas gets liberated. So is there some connection between this three Purusha and that three Purusha? Some connection?
3 Purusha avatars you are saying, Prabhu?
Yeah. Is there some connection?
Not exactly, Prabhu, because their 3 Purushas are all Paramatma only. That means we call them as a Purusha because they are controlling the Jiva Shakti and the Maya Shakti. And not exactly matching. Actually, I don't see, maybe.
Okay. And why this body is called Purusha, Adi Bhautika?
Anna Rasame Purusha.
Sorry, thank you to this. Can you just little bit explain according to Taittiriya Upanishad, this Annamaya, Pranamaya, little bit? Because in Gita it's not clear. So many times I tried.
It's not given, Prabhu. It is in the Taittiriya Upanishad, big chapter actually. It goes with big chapter. And the total thing he takes in the Bhagavad Sandarbha Sarva Samvadini. So Jiva Goswami establishes and also it is taken in the Bhagavad Sandarbha also, Prabhu. Annamaya Purusha and last especially Brahmanohi Pratishtaham. So there Anandamaya Purusha is there and his Pucham is that means his tail is the Brahma. That means Anandamaya Purusha is Pucham is compared with the Brahman, and in the Bhagavad Gita, what he is saying, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. I am the shelter for even the Brahman. So that same thing we are seeing in the Taittiriya Upanishad also. So what? So there is a Anandamaya Purusha, totally is known as Anandamaya Purusha, and his Pucham is the Brahman. So that's why we are taking there. So Supreme Lord Krishna is the shelter for the Brahman. So that point in that section we discussed, but not the other Purushas. So other Purushas, some extent they discuss that was discussed in Sarva Samvadini. But I am not recalling that exactly. So many intricacies are there in that.
This five Chetana, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya.
Yeah, they are yes. There are various levels of the Chetana. So that means we have to raise our Chetana level from one to another. Yeah. And related to this, you have any questions? Today's topic. Any other students they have?
Why it was necessary to discuss this? How it is connected to our previous discussion? These three.
These 3 Purushas we are discussing because in day-to-day life we are having these 3 Purushas with us, and we are going to establish these 3 Purushas are not going to. That means they cannot become that means these 3 Purushas we can see, that means Jivatma is also covered, and also the 23 elements also covered. Everything is covered. There is, apart from this, there is one more thing is we need, which is not dependent on this, which is not coming in this group. This group is interdependent group, and we want to find the one more thing, that is Paramatma.
Suddha Atma also will be Suddha pure soul also is above these three problems.
Yeah. Shuddha Jivatma also. That also is one more area of expression. Tomorrow we'll be seeing that. Shuddha Jivatma also we established, but for that Shuddha Jivatma also Ashray is the Paramatma, and ultimately Paramatma is only the Ashray. That also we are going to discuss in the next class. Yeah. So Jayagopala Prabhu, yes. Okay, it's okay, Prabhu. Ashray Prabhu.
Yes, thank you.
So,
So Jayagopala Prabhu, please.
So I'm little confused with the
Please.
Adi Bhautika Purusha. Is that the object which is seen is the Adi Bhautika Purusha? Or
What I'm saying, the object which is seen is generally what is the Adi Bhautik Purusha. Because you cannot see the Adi Daivika Purusha and Adhyatmika Purusha. Because Adhyatmika Purusha is the Jivatma, which is claiming senses, ownership on the senses. And that you cannot
Okay.
see. And also you cannot see the Adi Daivika because he is sitting in the senses. Senses itself are not visible. And sitting in that is not possible. So that means Adi Bhautik Purusha is only is a drishya, actually, is the object to be seen.
Okay, it is the object to be seen is the Adi Bhautika Purusha.
Yes.
Okay, but why we consider that as a ashraya here? Because okay, the devata we can understand, or the jiva who claims the senses as a shelter, that I can understand. But the object to be seen as a shelter, why we are considering that here?
Because without that shelter, but without Adi Bhautika Purusha, where senses can sit, where they can sit and how they can do their activity.
Oh, okay. So for their activity, the object is occurred. Then only they can perceive that I am there.
Even the object to be seen is not there. So then, if students are not there, how we can become teacher? If students are not at all there, then can he become teacher? No. Similarly, the object to be seen is not there. Then can we say someone as a seer? Rashta?
No.
We cannot.
No.
That is the point.
Okay. So in that sense, they all depend on each other.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Pitambar Prabhu. Bali Prabhu.
So I want to know, you told about three Purusha, Adi Atmik Purusha, Adi Davik Purusha, and Adi Bhautik Purusha.
Yes, Prabhu.
So Purusha is like just that's a personality. So here, whether this is meant for individual soul, Adhyatmik Purusha, or some Adhisthata Deva like that, just like Adi Bhautik, some material nature, or Adi Daivika, demigods. So here, Adhyatmik Purusha means what? Individual soul, who's claiming the senses. That is Adhyatmik Purusha, or some controller of all. Can you please clarify?
So who is claiming ownership on the senses? Who is feeling abhimana? Who is having abhimana? Abhimana means I am the seer, or I am the owner of this. So
okay. That is Adhyatmik Purusha. And Adibhautik means every individual body or only body. Prabhuji, is there any connection with when we say Adhyatmik place, Adibhautik place, Adidavik place? And this is there connection?
Yeah, we can have. Because if body is giving this Purusha, Annamaya Rasamaya Purusha, he is getting diseases, and so then that is cause for the problems. And other Adhyatmik Purusha means who claims the ownership on the senses. Sometimes our senses also give the pain. Senses means internal sense also you take. That means mind you can take. Mind is an internal sense. And sometimes you create yourself fear inside. And that is also giving the klesha. And Adi Daivika means these demigods, they also give the klesha to you. Yes. Like this.
And Prabhuji, you said the soul like that, a pure soul, and another is who's claiming the senses.
Abhimana.
Jiva and pure soul. Jiva is not seeing, pure soul is always seeing. The Jiva cannot see, we depend on other things. So there, whether two Jivas are there based on consciousness. Jiva is the only one. And you say pure soul.
You are no problem. You are like a liar actually. You are investigate like anything.
No.
Okay, good. I respect your question. Okay, no problem. So you are saying, Prabhu, actually, what you are saying, the pure Jivatma means the pure Jivatma, Suddha Jivatma, that means just with Atma with condition, without condition. that means without conditions. That means the one only Jivatma is there. Without any conditions, we say that is pure.
Yes.
That means the Jivatma which is not claiming itself as the owner of the senses or something. So it is just, it is itself. So then in that case, it is seeing itself because it is experiencing itself. And it is that is the example we have given Sushupti.
Yes.
In the
Yes.
Sushupti, the Jivatma is experiencing itself. So that's why we are saying that is a seer. And but here what we are taking, we are not taking that isolated, the pure unconditional Jivatma we are not taking. We are taking this Jivatma when it is due to, when this Ahankara, false ego, will bind this Jivatma with this subtle body.
Okay, okay.
Then what will happen? This total is known as conditional Jivatma.
Okay.
Okay, that we are saying. That will become seer when there is an object to be seen. Otherwise, it cannot become a seer.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay,
Hare
Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Good question. Next. Others? Okay. Thank you very much for patient hearing, and we'll meet Monday. Monday class is there. Monday exam is there. Class. Okay, I'll send the message on that early hours of that day. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.